The sign says skydiving. Just being here is dangerous.
No, Newcastle, mate. This is Craig, Billy.
Hello.
Hey, Alex,
I'm the spectator.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Good to see ya. Oh, you feel hot.
It's warm out there.
It
Yeah.
is. It's very cold.
Jumping out of an aircraft
Tell you.
and falling free, combined with the silent beauty of floating through the
That's
sky.
our facility in the background there.
And now, thanks to the advent of tandem jumping, this experience can be had more easily than ever before.
It wasn't going to be good for my hair in the long term. Okay, so we don't need a jumpsuit. This little computer box here is what would activate the reserve parachute, the secondary parachute. If for some reason we were both knocked out cold and we were just falling down and there was nothing going on. So right now it's kind of just gone through a calibration process and it is on and ready to go. And so that's one of the things that obviously won't work if it's not turned on.
What is the altitude that it's set to pop if you have an
It's
issue?
set at 1,800 feet, 1,750.
So it's kind of on the plane. You'll know when you.
What's the minimum altitude that most average jumpers would?
2,000 feet.
2,000, okay.
And the law is that you're supposed to be under a parachute at 2,000 feet. For a tandem jump, you're supposed to be under a parachute by 4,000. So we're going to be a little higher than the average
But you look
kind
at the
of
video.
opening
In free fall,
altitude
you
today.
know.
And since this is a tandem shoot, does it have more canopy or?
Yes, yes. I would say like for example, the parachute that I jump is 100 square foot. This parachute is 400 square feet.
So
it's
more
actually
than double.
More than double what we would be jumping relative to our weight. Actually, what is the aerodynamic? Is it 370? Yeah, so it's 370 square foot.
Okay.
Yes, I jumped this parachute with Tony's mom actually, and it was a 0 wind day. There wasn't a breath of wind, and when taking somebody that's, I think she's 75, the heat's on a little bit for getting a good landing, so we just elected to slide it on our butts. So basically, she was just sitting on my thighs, and we just greased it in, and she didn't even touch the ground.
First base.
There you go. It's exactly like a baseball. But if the wind, it should actually get a little stronger as the day progresses, but we should end up with a real tiptoe landing. But I generally talk as little about the parachute sort of flight as possible, because I can do it all under canopy, but that's also based on doing a lot of tandems in a day. But for you, we're the same height, but the way the harness is set up, you're situated lower than me. So your legs are actually dangling about 1.5 feet below mine. So if you don't lift them up, your feet will touch the ground first, and you can imagine the weight behind. And so that's about the only thing we want to avoid. You have any bad ankles or knees, or they're relatively okay? Okay. And then at this stage, I make the connection points. I might say, Craig, take this and pull it straight forward, which is now working this friction adapter on the side. Try to pull across your body, and it'll be left, right, left, right. Okay, now you can feel we're as snug as a bug there. I'll do something with that excess material, and then I'll ask you just try and sit back down on the floor, and you'll notice that you don't really get there anymore, and that's how we're attached. Okay, so we go to the door. I'll be reminding you of the body position that we might want to get. It's kind of just a banana position. We'll maybe do one little demonstration up there. And we go to the door, we just kind of inch down on our butt, get to the door, put our feet outside. Now this is the beginning of the, all right. Okay, so we get to the door. Now the heart rate's up, and the initial sort of sensation of putting your feet outside the aircraft is like, wow, there's a lot of wind here. But that wind's just coming from the propeller straight down the fuselage. So I'll give you a bit of a demonstration here. I don't know if I can probably box it on that. But you're going to put your feet outside, and it's going to get to a point where you feel like you're actually hanging out the aircraft, and you're meant to be. You're hanging on by your hip connection shoulder. Try and put your knees together and start getting your hips a little bit forward, because that's the beginning of the banana position. It starts in the hip, and if you think about it, if you just pinch your glute, that automatically pushes your hips forward. All right, so you don't, I know you've had some work in your hip and whatever, but you don't have to throw on one of these massive bananas. And to be honest, if you forget everything that I'm saying, it's still going to be fine. It just makes the difference between a comfortable ride where it's not rocking as much. If you can imagine if your knees were down and you were stuck in this position, the air has to go somewhere. So you might get a little bit of this sort of pivoting and rolling backwards and forwards. So keep together and slightly hips forward. And all you're going to get me going is, I'm talking the same way I'm speaking now. I'm going to go, okay, Craig, put your hands in your harness, which is going to be this, going to be good. Elbows to the side. Ellie, is it okay if I continue inside here, or do you want to side here?
No, I'm
Okay. So elbows in, hands in the harness, light grip, just a light grip. Now the only reason why I'm doing this rather than you jumping out like that is that you don't smack me in the head on the way out of the plane, because these hands are going to get blown around a little bit. So they're a little bit tucked away, and I'm going to go, okay, head back, banana position. And the head back I generally would just ease into my shoulder here anyway, and think banana, and I see it's just because of the fear factor. Everything is like a white out. But you see the aircraft will come around, there's the ground, and you're just in that banana position, trying to breathe, sure with a smile on your face. Then you're going to get 2 taps on the shoulders. It means I've kind of done a little bit of a check, the drogue's out, check my equipment. Now I'm now happy for you to bring your arms out. Alright, so that 2 taps on the shoulders could feel something like, and then again, because you're not feeling it at this stage. That's quite common for people, just like, I don't want to change anything, it seems to be working.
And all this will be in the space of about 3 seconds, we'll be like 30 minutes.
Right, I know, it happens so quickly. But anyway, there's no rush. I'll be going, okay, I've done my checks, you might even hear that. Okay, let's get the hands up. And the idea is to sort of just get them into this box position, that kind of box sensation there. Now, once the drogue's out, it's not that easy to move around. It's hard to generate forward movement, lateral movement, but we can make some turns. So if you just relax, I'll get you to start doing some turns, and there'll be sort of team turns, we'll call them. And basically all you've got to do is, right now the air is being deflected like this. Now all of a sudden, if you changed your shoulder and you let all the air go this way, there's going to be an opposite reaction to it. So that would be a left turn, and you'll just feel me doing this kind of stuff. And then you can have a little squiz of that. And we're going to get out somewhere where that needle is right now, because that's 12, 13 and a half, and it's going to work its way down. Now, if I'm doing a lot of these and I'm in a rush to get back to the ground, I'm going to open the parachute around 4,000 feet, which is legal. On a day like today, I'm probably going to open at 5. And enjoy the ride a little bit more. We don't have to worry about it. I mean, we're in no rush to get down. So if you want to, you can look at the altimeter, but I'm going to be talking you through that. And let's do some turns, let's try a bit of this, try a bit of that. And then you can imagine as we approach poor altitude, somewhere around 6, it might be an idea for you just to, okay, no more turns, because you might be getting into these turns now and recognizing, wow, I can do them on my own. So I'm going to, in the good old days, we used to tap on the shoulders again and bring the elbows in for the sequence. But today, people aren't too worried about that. So you just, at some point, if you can just calm down a little bit as we approach 5,000 feet, it helps the parachute deploy a little bit more systematically if our shoulders are square in particular parts. If I'm not trying to stop you from turning or whatever while I'm opening. So I'll be opening the parachute, and then from there we're going to swing into a pendulum effect. And now, because there's drag, and the parachute takes quite some time to open, it can take up to 1,000 feet. So it's sort of a snivelly effect. You're just sort of standing there and you're waiting for something to, and it slowly will mushroom out into a parachute. I do some checks. I test the parachute to make sure that everything is good and that we are making a decision to land with that one. And then, and we're talking it through, and then I'm going to try and help you get the harness a little bit more comfortable for the landing. Now, once the parachute opens and there's a little bit of that jerk, it's really up in your crotch. What you can do, and especially being as fit as you are, you can kind of lift one leg up and take this and pull it slightly, just slightly down here, so that you get more of a sitting effect there. And that even helps for landing. So you can get the one, then get the other, just inch it down there, Now, to release the side connectors, I'm going to ask you to probably just stand on my toes. And so push up a little bit, it makes the attachments...
While we're falling.
No, this is under the parachute.
Yeah, so we're going down and they can
Stand on
I
his-
always think that when a plane's crashing, you just step off.
So, yeah, so there's so much tension on here that if you stand on my toes, it releases it. I can release the connectors, and this makes it easy for us to walk off the landing. Then, as far as flying the parachute goes, we've determined we're going to land this parachute, everything's good. We look around, we have some fun taking the scenery. Then I'm going to give you the toggles. And you're going to hold those toggles, and with that is how we turn left or right, or how we slow the parachute down. And we will try all three of those sensations, so you get a little feel of flying the parachute around. For the landing, I'm going to take total control of the landing. But you can help me right up till about 500 feet, because what it does is it saves my arms to get a good, powerful flare at the end. And it's not absolutely necessary, but it's helpful. So if you're wondering why you still got the controls while we're doing this base leg into the final, eventually I'll say, okay, Craig, I got them now, you can let go of the toggles, and then feel free to, some people grab their jeans and pull them up, but you got strong enough abs, you're not going to have to worry about that. Well, we've covered a little bit of the landing already. What else? The camera guy, he gets out before us. So he's standing on a little perch at the back of the plane, and we can kind of look at him before we finally get elbows in, head back, think banana, off we go. Now we might see him, depending on how good he is, very early on, but once I get the drogue parachute out, it's my job to turn into the sun, then he'll arrive in front of you. And then he might fly around us, he might do a couple of little tricks, go up and down, etc. Our job is not to obviously hold him. He might offer a hand, shake his hand or whatever. But if you can just, a little bit of a red zone is when we start approaching that 6,000 feet. That would be a time to chill, get ready for the parachute opening. That's about it, I think. You got any questions? Look, this is like way overtrained.
Very light. We're probably going to be out over the north end of the field and probably a little bit on the west side.
Okay, you see how there's no wind now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so this could mean, guys, we're sliding it on a bump. Okay, that could happen. But the question for you, Aaron, is if they want to set up that tripod and the camera a little bit more further out.
See
what
this
are the
sign right here?
contrast?
Unless you're wavered, please don't cross it.
Woo! Very good.
Is your stomach going nuts?
No, my
Is it
stomach was
turning?
fine. What happened? What was amazing was you just get out and it's like a roller coaster with 111 mile an hour. And then all of a sudden you just feel like you're falling. All of a sudden you can't feel anything anymore. You had to grab my head off. Holy crap. Alright.
was hard to figure out who was who.